What's up, everybody? I'm Tim from Timber Ridge Gifts. So one of the most common questions I get is how to actually price your candles. Once you've got the candle made, you're ready to sell it, how do you decide what you actually sell it for? Now, it's really not that complicated. There's really just a few things that you have to consider, but they can be pretty important things. So I'm going to go ahead and cover those with you. I've got a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. So I know everybody makes different shapes and sizes of candles. This method is going to work regardless of what size or shape candle you make. But for comparison today, we're going to be checking out one of my candles. This is a 4-ounce candle that sells in my shop for $6.55. So the big question is, how did I get there? Well, the easy answer is, there is no easy answer. Because I'm buying so many different supplies from different companies, prices are fluctuating here and there really is no surefire way to price this down to the exact penny. But we can get pretty close. Now, to figure out what I want to charge for it, the most important thing I need to know is what it costs me to make it. And that's really just as simple as breaking down our supplies item by item, figuring out how much it costs for that supply to go into that one candle. Now, to do that, we've really got to break our supplies down into two different categories, fixed costs and fluid costs. We'll go and start with the fixed costs. These are basically supplies that you're going to buy in bulk. You buy them pretty much from the same place every time. They're the same price. Nothing really changes about it. So we can know exactly what that item costs every time we use it. We'll start with our wicks. Pretty simple. It's $8.95 for a bag of 100. So that tells us that each individual wick is 9 cents. Next is the wick stickers that I use. Again, pretty simple. $4.45 for a pack of 100. So that tells us that each sticker is 4.5 cents. Next is the jars that I use. This is probably where everybody's going to really start to differ. But for this candle, it's just a standard 4-ounce mason jelly jar that you can buy pretty much anywhere. I think I get these at Walmart. You can get them at Target, Tractor Supply, Costco, Sam's, pretty much anywhere. And the price rarely changes on these as well. It's $7.98 for a pack of 12, making each jar 67 cents. Next is going to be our wax. Pretty simple to figure out as well. You can get a 50-pound case for $58.95. So the math on that's pretty easy too. 50 pounds equals 800 ounces. $58.95 divided by 800 ounces brings us to 73 cents an ounce. 4 ounces in this candle, so roughly 25 cents worth of wax per candle. And our last fixed cost item is going to be the lids. Now, I don't care much for the mason jar lids that come on this jar. I like to replace it with a one-piece black lid, and those run me $28.39 for a case of 144 of them, making each one 19.7 cents per lid. Now, here's your first pro tip of the day. While I'm replacing it with this lid, I don't actually throw this one away. You can resell these. These will sell like crazy. People that can go through these like hotcakes. A lot of people use these for craft projects. Like literally, I sell these so fast that if I had just a steady stream of these, I could make a living selling lids and I would quit the candle business altogether. That's just how well these sell. So this was 19.7 cents for the black lid. I actually resell these for 20 cents. So it's kind of a break even. The lid really isn't even figured into the total cost of my finished candle. So that was it for our fixed cost items. Now we're going to talk about our fluid cost item. These are the ones that make it a little bit trickier to price our candles. Just because the prices are so fluid, meaning they fluctuate so much, when we try to figure out our cost per candle, some cases we're going to have to average, some cases we're going to have to guess a little bit, some cases we're going to have to plug in arbitrary numbers to actually get us to where we need to be, but we can still get ourselves pretty close. So our first fluid cost item is going to be our labels. Now these should be pretty easy to figure out. You can basically take the cost of the pack of labels, which was $15.95 I think, divided by the number of labels, which just comes with 135, and that can actually give you the idea of the cost of every blank label. But the problem is we're printing on them, and that's one of those things that's going to be fluid. It's impossible to come up with an exact number of how much money and ink went into that one label. Every printer is different. Ink cartridges have different costs. Each label is going to be different. Black ink seems to be cheaper than green ink. So a label with a lot of black inks is going to be cheaper than a label with a lot of green ink. It's really impossible to break it down and actually figure it out. But there's an easy way where we can do that. I do most of my labels on Avery.com, and they have an option on there where you can design the label there, but actually purchase it from them and have them print it and send it to you. So I've checked their price list, and I can see that to buy a bulk quantity of these pre-printed, it's going to be about 31 cents per label. Now I know I can buy the blanks and print it cheaper than that myself, but that's really the best number I got, because I'm not going to figure out the amount of ink per each label, the wear and tear on my printer. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to put in the energy trying to figure that out, and it's going to fluctuate so much anyway, it's not going to do me any good to try to figure it out. So I'm willing to accept that arbitrary number just to keep my math going. So the next fluid cost is going to be our candle dye. I like to use liquid candle dye. Now the cost of this is going to be pretty minuscule, but don't skip over it because, you know, over 2,000 candles a year, over 10 years, it's really actually going to add up. So you need to go and figure it into your costs. And although it seems impossible, it's actually pretty simple. So I can buy this 1 ounce jar for $5.45. The manufacturer tells us that this is enough dye to bring 100 pounds of wax to a medium shade. So 100 pounds of wax is going to be 16 ounces. $5.45 divided by 1600 means that to dye 1 ounce of wax will cost 0.003 cents or 3/10 of a penny. 4 ounces of wax in our candle. So for each candle we're going to be using 1.2 cents of dye. Like I said, pretty minuscule, but we need to include it because it's going to add up. And our last item is going to be our fragrance oil. Now up until now it's been pretty tame. The numbers have been pretty easy to work with and still be able to stay consistent. This is by far the most expensive item that goes into our candles, and the prices can fluctuate dramatically. Now the easiest thing to do would be to figure out how much a candle using this fragrance oil makes, how much a candle using this fragrance oil makes, and so on. But at the end of the day, that's going to give us the same size candles with prices all over the place. It's going to make one candle cost $2.50 to make. It's going to make another candle cost $3.12 to make. It's going to make another one cost $1.98 to make. And our price chart's going to be all over the place. It's going to confuse people and it's going to look sloppy. It's just not really where we want to go. We want to have the same size candle, priced the same across the board. It's just more appealing, it's easier to sell, and it just looks a lot cleaner. But even though these fluctuate greatly in price, we can still narrow it down. Best thing to do is just find a medium price range. So on average, fragrance oil is going to be anywhere from $16 to $22 a pound. You can find some higher or lower, but that's going to be our good average base. So that gives us an average cost of $19 a pound. So $19 a pound, 16 ounces in a pound, it's $1.19 per ounce. So rather than trying to break it down per candle, we're actually going to figure this number by the batch of candles that we've made and then divide from there. What I mean by that is make these a case at a time or 12 at a time. So our number's on that. That's going to take 2.5 pounds of wax. At a 12% fragrance load, that means that I've used 5 ounces of fragrance oil for this batch of 12 candles. 5 times $1.19 is $5.95. So to make this batch of 12 candles cost $5.95 divided by 12 means that there's 49.5 cents worth of fragrance oil in this candle. We're almost done. There's one more thing to consider. You've noticed that throughout all of this I've not talked about shipping yet. Shipping can be all over the place, can be a killer to a small shop, can be really expensive, and can be darn near impossible to figure out because in the long run we're stacking supplies, we're buying from different companies. Of the 9 or 10 supplies that go into this candle, they actually probably come from 6 different companies that I've purchased in different times in different sized orders. So the shipping is just crazy. Finding an exact dollar amount is just pretty much impossible. But what I've done is I went back over my shipping records for the past 2 years and found that on average shipping costs were about 18% of my total order. So for every order that I placed, if it was a $100 order, shipping costs for that order were $18. Cheaper some places, more expensive in the other, but on average it was about 18%. So that's the number I go with when I figure my total costs. So now that we know what each item costs, we're going to figure it up per candle. So we've added everything up so far, multiplied it by 18% to cover our shipping cost, and we found that this size candle cost me $2.24 to make. Pro tip number 2, once you scale your business to where you're moving a lot of candles out the door, you can actually start buying things in bulk. So buying everything in bulk that I could, the absolute cheapest that I can actually make this candle is $1.55. So now that I know exactly what it costs, now I have to figure out what I can actually sell it for. The good news is there's really no right or wrong answer. The only number I really have to worry about is that $2.24 that it cost me to make it. As long as I've got that covered, I'm making money. I can sell it for $3, I can sell it for $5, I can sell it for $15 if somebody will pay that for it. But most importantly, as long as it's over $2.24, I'm actually making money. Now I wish there was an easy answer I could give you to find out exactly what you can sell it for. It's going to take a lot of research on your part. A lot of it's going to depend on the quality of the product that you've made, the amount of competition in your area, the prices of your competition, and the actual demand from your customers. Only you will know those, so I can't give you that answer, but I can get you fairly close. The most common pricing model that people use is your cost of supplies multiplied by 2 to get you your wholesale costs. So if I were selling these in bulk to a wholesaler, I'd be charging $4.48. And to make our retail cost, we multiply that number by 2. So we take the $4.48, multiply it by 2, gives us a retail of $8.96, which is fairly reasonable for this size candle. If you look on Etsy, you'll see this size candle anywhere from $6 to $10. Pretty good average pricing. But again, you have to go where your competition goes. If your price comes to $9 and everybody else in your area is selling the exact same candle for $6.55, pricing yours at $9 probably isn't going to do you much good if they can get the exact same thing from the very next shop for $6.55. Again, that's not an easy answer I can give to you. That's just going to come down to you researching the supply, demand, competition, and quality of the candles in your area to find the actual price that you can charge. But as a general rule, the cost multiplied by 2 for wholesale, multiplied by 2 for retail, it's going to get you pretty close. And then the best part is once you start selling a lot of candles, you can scale and start undercutting your competition a little bit and still be making actually more money than they are. For example, I told you I make this for actually $1.55, sell it for $6.55, but because I buy in bulk and my supply costs are lower, I can actually use the cost by 2 model, come up with a less expensive candle, and still be at the top margin rate for that model. But like I said earlier, knowing what it costs to actually make this is the most important thing, because really, regardless of what I charge for it, as long as I have that $2.24 or that $1.55 covered, anything else is extra. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope this was helpful. For all of my international followers, sorry I didn't use any metric measurements, all standard. Not too familiar with the metric system, so hopefully that won't be too hard for you guys to convert and understand. I'll try to dig up a conversion chart and put that in the video description. Maybe that'll help somebody. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it helps a lot. Thanks for watching. You guys make sure you subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notifications so you guys will know right away when new videos come. Thanks for watching, everybody.